everybody. Welcome back to What's on These TV. This is my commentary podcast where I talk about all things shows, movies, music, media that I love, that I enjoy, that I watch, that I listen to. My name is Dee. Housekeeping rules are as they always are. We can disagree. You don't have to be rude about it. Feel free to put your questions, comments, concerns in the comments below. And we can chop it up. Listen, okay, I know it's been a while. I was going through some stuff with the pod, but everything is back in order now, so I am good to continue. I also may sound a little different because I'm getting over a cold. So if my voice sounds a little, that's the reason. But yeah, there's no new updates really. I'm able to go ahead and continue recording, so I will be posting episodes again. Everything with the podcast is back in order now, so that should be good. Yeah, that's really all that I have for an introduction. I hope y'all are doing good and staying warm or cool wherever you are, and enjoying time with your family. But yeah, so I'm going to get into the episode. Today I'm talking about episode 3 of The Hunting Wives. It's a show on Netflix. And I'm going to give my thoughts about the episode. And if y'all want to join in on the conversation, feel free to comment below. Okay, I'm going to get into it. The first thing I have written is I saw the SNL spoof of the show. Which is funny because prior to seeing they spoofed it, I was going to say I would love to see Katherine Hahn in season 2 because I want to see her and everything because I love her. But after seeing Aubrey in the spoof of it for SNL, now I need her in season 2. And hell, Anna Kendrick as well. Why not? Add Anna Kendrick to it. And I just, that's my dream casting. Katherine Hahn, Aubrey Plaza, Anna Kendrick. Now, what they're going to do, I don't know, but put them in it. And I said, why not? You know, that's my dream casting. I thought that was funny. And that spoof was really funny. I'm happy to see other people. Maybe I just haven't seen it, but I'm happy to see other people talk about Margot's wig because I thought I was the only one pointing out that it looked a little interesting, but that spoof was funny as fuck. So, but yeah. So that was the first thing that I had written down. And then the starting of the episode, I said kind of missed this messy ass show, not gonna lie. And I did. I did miss it. Things have been a little dull. So I'm happy to be able to get back into rewatching. Yeah. So the episode opens up with the detective, and I have her name written down. I just don't remember it right now. Hold on. Let me go further in my notes and I can find her name. Detective. Where is it? I know I have her name written down, but I'll come across it and I'll say. But yes, the detective who was injured, we see how she got injured. She called in for backup because she heard screaming at a house. And again, she's trying to find this missing girl. And so she thought that she had a lead. And the cop is telling her, hey, don't go in there by yourself. Just wait for me. Wait for backup. But she went in anyway. And got hurt. So she got knocked out. And that's how she got shot. And that's how we see how she got hurt. So that it did a little small flashback. And then now, when the episode opens, we see Sophie and her husband hunching. And I said, now this was after Sophie had seen Margot and Brad. Anyway, Margot and Brad doing the do through the window of the cabin. And so now her and her husband are hunting. I said it took seeing Margot hunt for her to want to be with her husband. And I said gas. Because that's what she was thinking about, was Margot. Margot. Also, I already said that I feel like most of the women in this show are struggling with comp het. And I just feel like the proof is in the pudding. So, whatever. And so the next thing we have is them talking to Sophie's husband saying that they should take their son to the beach, have a beach day. And not gonna lie, I completely forgot they had a son. Up until this point, I completely forgot they had a little boy. Which is crazy because that seems to be a lot of, maybe. Other than being selfish, that seems to be a lot of Sophie's motives. And I completely forgot that they had a son. So my bad. But yeah, they're like, let's take the boy to the beach, have a family, outing. And Sophie's like, yeah, sure. So the next thing we have is Margot on her exercise bike. She's nervous because Sophie is not responding to her texts. And she knows that Sophie saw her and Brad getting it in. So she is worried about Sophie's reaction. And again, Sophie is not responding to her text. So she's really nervous. And I pointed out Margot's wig again. I said, I can't with that fucking wig. Please. I feel like it's become a character of its own, so maybe they have to do it in season 2, but it just, anyway. So, Margot, while she's trying to get a hold of Sophie, Jill calls her. Jill is Brad's mom, and she starts talking about, Brad's girlfriend, Abby, and how she can't believe that they're messing around and fooling around and that they fooled around in the boat and all that stuff. And I said, Jill is a classic, not to stereotype, but honestly, boy mom. Like, she's so weird about her son. She really wants to be his girlfriend. And it's very odd, but yeah, you see this often with boy moms. And don't get at me. If this hits a nerve, stop being weird, is all I'm saying. If this hits a nerve, then if the shoe fits, wear it. But yeah, so she's just ranting about how Brad and Abby are being intimate and how they've done it on her boat and whatnot. And Margot is just asking her these completely baseless questions, trying to see what she knows, because Margot knows she's hunching on Brad. And so she's just like, I'm just trying to see what Jill knows up until this point. You feel me? Whatever. All of them are weird. And then the next one I said, I can't stand Brad. I can't stand him. He annoys the fuck out of me. And again, my tolerance for annoying male characters is below, like, it couldn't be lower if you paid me. So just everything he does and says annoys the fuck out of me, and I know that's the purpose, but it's just like, and I know he's a child, but still, it's annoying as fuck. And then so in the car we have Brad and Abby, or the next scene we have Brad and Abby in the car, and he's talking about how he thought things would be different. And Abby was like, why? Because we boned. And she is very suspicious because she found out that when Brad left her on the boat, or left her to leave early from the boat, he told her that he was going to go and train Jed's sons. And Jed's ex-wife came into the restaurant where Abby works, and she was asking the kids about it, and they were like, what? And Jed's ex-wife was like, listen, my kids are interested in video games. They are not interested in sports. So Abby figured out that Brad lied to her about where he went after they hunched on the boat. And he's just being a gaslighter. So Abby steals his phone And she's like, who are you messaging on Signal? And he tries to fight to get his phone back, and she tosses it out the window. And yeah, I was like, if you gotta steal the phone, it ain't worth it. Break up with this boy. He does not like you. Break up with him. It's not worth it. And so Abby gets out of the car and she's trying to apologize to Brad, and she gives him his phone back and he snatches it and just leaves. As they're arguing, you see Abby's mom, Star, is watching them through the window. And so Abby comes rushing into the house, pissed off at Brad and everything like that, the situation that just happened. And Star's trying to give her some advice. She's trying to be her mother. And, Abby's just not hearing it. And she says some really rude stuff to her. And I feel so bad for Star. Like, she just wants to be there for her daughter. She wants to be included. She wants to be nice to the women in the town. And everybody just treats her like shit. And it's just, I feel so bad for her. Especially, well, if you're listening to this, you probably already watched the show. But especially with the way the show plays out, I feel the worst for Star than anybody. And that's gonna sound crazy based on how the show plays out, but I feel the worst for her. But yeah, so excuse me. So Sophie and her husband and their son are on the beach and they're chilling, and Sophie is getting all these texts from Margot that she's ignoring. She's reading them, but she's not responding to them. And her husband is like, well, what's going on? Who you're texting, who's texting you? And she's like, oh, it's just Margot. And he's like, besties, you answer your bestie. And I was like, this man is so fucking clueless. Bestie, dude? No, she wants to hunt. Anyway. So basically, he forces her to respond. So this is his fault. Basically, he forces her to respond to Margot. And she's like, all right. So it's his fault. I'm gonna blame the husband. But yeah, she responds to her, tells her where she's at. And then the next scene is we're back at Star and Abby's house, and Star's wanting to comfort Abby, and she's just like, listen, he's no good. Like, I know what it's like to be in love with a man who doesn't care about you and who you think is your whole world. And Abby was like, it's different between me and him than you and Dad. Like, we love each other. Or she said, Brad loves me. And I was like, oh, Abby, watch her mouth. She's so fucking, and she's so rude to her mother. And I don't know if I'm just hypersensitive or if it feels like she's way ruder to her mother than I've ever seen in any show. I may just be being sensitive because I really feel for Star, but she's so rude to her, and I feel really bad for her. And she doesn't. Star feels bad about not being able to connect with her daughter, and you can see she's really trying to. And then Abby starts talking about why should she listen to her? She can't even afford a pair of shoes. And I'm like, this is about fucking shoes, dude? Like, your mom is trying to give you some advice on dealing with ain't shit boys, and she's just really rude to her, and I feel really bad. So yeah. But yeah, and yeah, I pointed out, I was like, they're so mean to her in the show. They're so mean to Star, and it's not just her daughter. Everybody is so mean to Star. Sophie wasn't mean, but she was just like, you're not who I'm trying to talk to, so it doesn't matter. And I feel really bad for her. She just wants a friend. I don't know, whatever. The next scene we have is Margot pulling up on a jet ski at Sophie and her husband. I want to say his name is Greg. Sophie's husband. She pulls up on Sophie's husband and their son while they're on the beach. enjoying family time. And she's like, I put, not Margot pulled up on her baby while she with her husband and child, and then it said gay, because you gay. And she's like, come on, let me steal Sophie. And the husband's so fucking clueless. It's like, yeah, sure, go with her. I'm like, you're basically telling Sophie to sleep with this woman. I don't, it just, that's what I would get. That's what I would be. I'd be like, all right, he's clearly okay with it. Because you trying to push me into this woman's lap. And guess we hunching. With your permission. But yeah, I thought that was funny. So yeah, Margot pulled up. She stole Sophie from her family time, and they jetted off on a jet ski. And yeah. So the next thing we have is Jill and Brad talking. Jill telling Brad how it's inappropriate of him to sleep with Abby in their boat, and how he doesn't need this girl messing up his opportunities because he's going to a really good college on a sports I was going to say membership, on a sports scholarship. And she's framing it as she doesn't want him to jeopardize his future, but really she wants to be his girlfriend. And that's just what it gives. So I was like, Brad, she's just mad she can't sleep with you, when she was talking to him about sleeping with his girlfriend, which is weird because it's like, they're teenagers. What do you think they're going to do? Anyway, I'm like, that should be the least of your worry. Him sleeping with someone age appropriate should be the least. Well, I get being worried because, you don't want no grandchildren or anything like that. But that should be the least of your concerns when it comes to Brad and who he's fornicating with. But anyway. So the next scene is Jill is telling her husband how he should be worried about Brad and should be sticking up for him, and talking about, she said, Brad's not a man, he's a boy. I'm like, for fuck. Oh, no, bump that, that's not what that was about. this Brad's not a man, he's a boy. Oh, I'm so grossed out. Is Margot's response to Sophie when Sophie was like, I thought that you and your husband had a deal that you weren't going to sleep with other men. And Margot goes, well, Brad's not a man, he's a boy. And I said, fuck's sake, I'm so grossed out. I hate this part of the fucking storyline. And I will never not point it out because they keep pointing it out. It's disgusting. They keep pointing it out, so I'm going to keep pointing it out. I fucking hate it. And that just grossed me out so bad that I almost turned off the episode. I was like, you know what? I need a break. So I took a break because I can't. That's disgusting. That's, anyway. Next scene. Well, they're still in the scene with Sophie and Margot. And, Margot is reiterating and gaslighting Sophie into keeping quiet and not telling her secrets. And Margot and Sophie was like, oh, I wouldn't tell. I won't tell your secrets. And Margot's like, I know you won't. And she was like, just a feeling. I was like, of course she knows you won't tell. She's got her hook so deep in you, Sophie. You think that you making decisions for yourself, but really everything you're thinking and planning and doing is around Margot. She knows you ain't gonna snitch because you want to hunch on her. So, whatever. But, so Margot and Sophie decide to get into the pool. And I pointed out, because again, architecture, I said the pool is gorgeous. I said it before, I really like the lake house. I don't know how much of it is set, how much of it is real. But I like the way it looks. I think it's beautiful. So, I don't know. But, as they're swimming, Callie and the other friend, the black lady, I did not catch her name. Maybe I did, but I don't remember. She really has a few lines. She doesn't really have a storyline in the show. So, anyway, Callie and her pull up to see Sophie and Margot swimming in the pool, And you could just see the jealousy written all over Callie's face. And Callie's wearing this denim get up. So I was like, Callie, green and denim. She is so jealous. Oh my god. And even though Callie's fucking nuts, she's still my favorite character in the show. I like crazy women. I don't know. But yeah, so she pulls up. She's jealous. And Callie's like, oh, are you coming to the shooting range with us again? Or are you coming hunting with us? Or are you going to be, boring or whatever? And Sophie's like, oh, she said, are you coming with us? And if you are, do you have your own gun? Or are you going to borrow Margot's again? So jealous. And Sophie's like, I do not have a gun. So they're like, well, guess we're going to go shopping for a gun. And they take Sophie to a gun shop to buy a gun. And I said, I don't think Sophie should have a gun. She doesn't seem comfortable around them. I don't think y'all should be forcing her into anything. But she is a grown woman, and she could have said no. But she didn't. So, yeah. But, yeah, so they're at the next scene is they're at the gun range. And Sophie's like, I don't even have a place to put this. And Margot, because first they tried to get her to buy this fucking shotgun. And she's like, I don't even have a place to put this. And Margot's like, just leave it at my place. And I was like, that should have been the reddest fucking flag, Sophie. If you take your head out of Margot's ass for just a second, that should have been a red flag to you. That should have been the reddest fucking flag. But she's whipped and in love, so but Sophie's talking in the gun shop. She's like, I can't believe people just like walk around, insinuating like she can't believe people just walk around with their guns. And all the girls are like, with these, and they pull out their guns. And I'm like, oh my god. It just, I mean, hey, if you're gonna pull out a gun, I guess in a gun shop. But I thought maybe that's just at the range. Because I thought that, yeah, probably. Because if you're going to a gun shop to buy a gun, they have to assume people, especially if you're in an open carry state, they have to assume people brought their weapons with them. So maybe I was wrong. But yeah, they just whipped them out. And I was like, oh my god. Oh my god. I just thought that was a lot. And so Sophie sees this little a pistol that she thinks would fit her better than this huge shotgun, which valid. And so she buys it. And I pointed out, I was like, why didn't she get a safe to put it in? I guess it's short notice, but having it unsecured like that, it's just in like a soft packaging. It's a hard package, but it's not like locked or anything like that. So I was like, having it unsecured like that with a child in the house is crazy, especially because you're a first time gun owner and you don't have any, even if you don't buy like a lockbox, you don't have anywhere to put it securely to ensure that your child is not going to get to it. And she just decides to put it in a dresser. And it's like, girl, bad decisions were made all around. And my nervousness, my anxiety, very, very high when it comes to her and this gun. But yeah. And so Sophie's putting the gun away, and then her husband calls out to her, and she's explaining what she did for the day. And she shows him that she bought, the whole camouflage get up for hunting, all the hunting gear. And, he was like, something about, he spelled, that made him, because the boy is there. So he spelled out gun instead of saying it. And I was like, well, she bought a GUN into your house. So bigger fish and whatnot, bigger fish to fry. Because he was just worried about the clothing and the gear. And I was like, well, you have an actual gun in your house now. So I feel like the gear is small potatoes. But he don't know. He don't know. Very, very clueless man. Anyway, so The next scene is them going boar hunting, and Callie is getting ready to shoot, and Marco's like, no, let Sophie go first. And Callie's like, what? Like, her face, I was like, oh my god. So Sophie's like, oh no, I don't want to do this. I was like, Margot, she only shot a gun once. Because Margot's like, no, she's ready, she can do it. I was like, she only shot a gun once. What do you mean she's ready? And she shot a gun once, and it wasn't like a live creature. It was a disc. And even that she freaked out about. So Sophie aims to shoot, and she shoots the boar, and then they're all cheering, but then they realize that she didn't kill it. It was just wounded. And I said, not y'all torturing these animals. I couldn't be a hunter. Going to the range is intimidating enough, and that's enough. I don't need to be out in the wild. I get hunting for food, I guess, but hunting just to hunt, just because it's an invasive species, just because you want to kill something, I can't do it. Maybe that's just, again, me being sensitive, but again, trying to get food, I get, but just cause you want to kill something, that's not me. But yeah, so they figure out that Sophie didn't actually kill the boar, she just wounded it. And so they were like, no, you got to go finish the job, put it out of its misery. And Sophie's like, no, I don't want to do that. So Callie does it, and she just, shoots it and, kills it. And then they're like, all right, well, now let's go get drinks or whatever. And I'm like, so y'all just gonna leave it there? Like, when people go hunting, don't they usually bring their kills home to butcher and, have meat and whatnot? But y'all just shoot one boar and then just leave it there? I don't know. But that's what they did. And so they get back to the cabin, and they're like, oh, let's play a game. And Callie requests or suggests Never Have I Ever. And I said, what are they, 12? But they're like, fine. They start playing. And off the bat, you can tell Callie is on one. Immediately, she's like, never have I ever killed someone. And, well, because they asked a few questions, like, never have I ever said the wrong name in bed and all that stuff. Callie's first question is, never have I ever killed someone. And she looked right at Sophie. And I said, Callie, you have absolutely no chill. Oh, my God. Like, all this embarrassing yourself for a woman that doesn't even want you anymore is crazy to begin with. But why would you just pop out like that? Asking the question like that. So I was cringing. And Sophie was like, yeah, I said Callie is crazy and she's unhinged, but she's still my fave. I don't know. But yeah, so Sophie was like, oh, so now you know about me, because obviously Callie read her record. Again, she's married to a sheriff, which is crazy. And she did steal his credentials to look her up and then ask him. She practically begged him to dig more information on her just because she hunching on the girl that you anyway, whatever. So he did, and now she knows her full unredacted backstory of how she was drunk driving and she killed somebody. And so Sophie's telling them the whole story about what happened, and she seems really remorseful about it, as much as she can be. I don't feel like Sophie this is gonna sound crazy. Sophie doesn't ring to me as a good person who really feels anything other than lust and attraction to Margot and maybe love for her child. But she seems like her emotions are very muted, and that could be mentally she's checked out. But also, I do feel like she's struggling with a lot of like boredom, and again, comp het in her life. Like, she does not love this man. Like, be fucking for real. She loves her son, but she doesn't love this man. She did not want to marry this man. And so a lot of her emotions feel very muted to me. And again, I could be wrong, but that's just what I'm getting. So she seems as remorseful as she can be when talking about this situation. But I just think that it's funny how, she killed someone and she's not the victim. She was drunk driving and they were still babying her and infantilizing her. I mean, like, oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry that happened to you, when she was in the wrong. And then Margot's like, I can't believe, like, what the fuck are you, why would you do that, Callie? And then now Margot is pissed off at Callie. And Callie was like, wait, what? And I was like, well, yeah, how are they? I get Callie shouldn't have brought up her business like that, but also, Sophie's not the victim. Like, she's the perpetrator. She was the one drunk driving and killed somebody. And y'all are babying her. Whatever. And so, yeah, Callie is pissed at herself, and she's mad that the situation didn't go the way that she thought it would go. And, so Callie is pissed off, and she's angry that Margot's angry at her, and she feels like shit. So Margot's like, let's just end this, and everybody leaves, and so it's just Margot and Sophie in the cabin. And, Sophie is like, you see Callie upset in her car and calling herself stupid and all that stuff. But Margot and Sophie are talking. And Sophie's like, oh, now I'm a terrible person and everything like that. And I was like, well, Sophie, you're surrounded by horrible people, so whoop-de-doo. All these people you're surrounded by, and Margot, who you want to hunch on, is a terrible person. So birds of a feather, you're in great company. And so Sophie, Margot and Sophie were talking about how, she saw her and Brad, and Sophie was like, how do you know that I won't say anything about it? And I said, oh no, she was like, you saw me see you through the window. Why did you continue? Why didn't you stop? And I was like, because Margot wanted to make sure that she could hunch on you and you would be fine with it. That's why she ain't stopped when she saw you see her with Brad. She was like, let me see where this woman's boundaries are, if she has any boundaries, morals, decorum, and how can I infiltrate that? Because as much as Sophie wants to hunch on Margot very, very much wants to hunch on Sophie as well. So she was like, maybe I can get in there. And and I was like, yeah, everybody in this town is sprung off Margot. It's nuts. But yeah, so now we know why Margot didn't stop when she saw Sophie through the window. Now we know. But anyway, so the next scene we have is Abby getting ready to go to a party. And I was like, not Abby wearing the outfit from the opening of the show. And I said, guess we know who's getting shot. She's wearing the exact same outfit. Yeah. And so yeah, she's getting ready for the party, trying to call Brad and see if he wants to, if he's still mad at her, or if they can go together. And the next thing we have is one of the girls from the I'm not religious. I don't know what, from one of the girls that go to the church with them. One of the girls is part of the church group or whatever. She is walking to a party, and you see, or she's walking, and you see Pastor Pete pull up. And I said, I really wish all the girls would stay away from this damn Pastor Pete. He's a walking red flag too. But whatever. But you see Pastor Pete, he's looking at pictures of Abby in his car. and I believe he was jerking. Anyway, so yeah, Pastor Pete's a fucking weirdo, and the next scene we have, is Margot and Sophie in the lake house, and you hear the doorbell ring, and Sophie's like, "Who's that?" And Margot's like, "That's our surprise." And she opens the door, and it's Brad and Jamie. So we see that the reason why Brad has not been responding to Abby is because he and Jamie were on their way to hang out with Margot and Sophie. And I said, "You're surprised?" Oh yeah, because Sophie was like, "Who is that?" And Margot was like, "That's our surprise." And I was like, "Your surprise is teenage boys." I hate this part of the fucking show, and I will never shut up about it. It's just so gross. And I think the thing that gets to me is the fact that that in a lot of circles, this is a reality. And it just grosses me out so much. The same way it would if these were men in their 30s and 40s hanging out with teenage. I hate it so much. And I'm just, and it's even more annoying because Margot and Brad's relationship have it's a huge part of the show, and I fucking hate it. Anyway. So no, I won't shut up about it, and if that's annoying, I don't know what to tell you. You should be disgusted too. But anyway, whatever. So yeah, Sophie and Margot are hanging out with these teenage boys in the lake house by themselves, and I was like, "Sophie, you should have took your ass home. You should have took your ass home." And now, well, we'll see. So the next scene is Star is in the house, and she's calling Abby because she's like, "Abby, I did it. Look what I did." And you see that Star ordered Abby the boots that she wanted, and she wanted to show her. But as she opens Abby's door, she sees that Abby is not home because she snuck out to the party. And yeah, I said, "Oh, Star, I feel so bad for Star." She was so happy about those shoes. She was showing that she ordered them, not that they arrived. She showed that she ordered them. She said, "I did it." And she was so happy. And she wanted to share that with her daughter. Oh, man. Poor Star. But yeah. So we get back to the lake house. And they decide to play spin the bottle. And so they kissing on these teenage boys. And then the bottle spins, and or Margot spins the bottle and it ends on Sophie. And then they start kissing, and I was like, hold on, wait. Oh, wait, hold on. So yeah, they were playing spin the bottle. Next scene is we're at the party that Abby, snuck off to, and they're playing this like weird country rap, quote unquote, music. And I said, "What is this white country rap music?" It sounded so stupid, but they was partying. And so Abby realizes that Brad is not at the party, and she is like, "Oh, he's probably with Margot," because she's long realized that something is going on with them. And so she's like, "You know what? I'm gonna call his mother." and I said, "Abby, his mother girlfriend gonna kill you, because she's very, very, very protective, quote unquote, of her son, and she already does not like you. And you talking about how her son is spreading his seed all around town." Oh yeah, because Pastor Pete pulled up on Abby and was like, "Hey, if there's anything you want to talk about, feel free." And then he was saying how Brad told him about their secret. And we don't get to see what the secret is right now, but it's something that pissed Abby off terribly. And she calls his mother and she's like, you should be worried about your son spreading his seed all around town. And the Jill is like, hey, where are you? Let's talk. And I was like, she gonna kill you. But yeah. So the next thing we have is them back at the lake house and again playing spin the bottle with fucking teenagers. And I said disgusting. And then Margot spins the bottle and it lands on Sophie. And they start kissing. And I was like, can't even enjoy the fucking gay because I'm so grossed out. The fact that there's teenagers present. Anyway. But yeah, the next scene is Pastor Pete in his car being a fucking weirdo. And he sees one of the girls walking. And he's like, oh, do you need a ride somewhere? And she's like, yeah. So she gets in the car and ugh. But the next scene is them back at the lake house. Sophie and Margot and the boys are in the pool. And I want to say Margot is a terrible fucking influence. But Sophie's a grown-ass woman, and she's not saying no to any of this. She has plenty opportunity to say, no, I don't want to do that. This isn't right. And she doesn't. So, as much as I want to say Margot's a terrible fucking influence, Sophie's a grown woman, and she's going with it, just like everybody else that are not the teenagers. Everybody else in the town sees the weird shit going on, and they're just going with it. So I can't blame Margot for Sophie. I can't. Like, they're, again, I said this already. They're all terrible fucking people. So, gross. But yeah, so, Jamie and Sophie start making out. And Sophie's like, wait, I need to go. And she goes into the kitchen. And then Jamie, comes up and he's asking her, like, what's wrong? Like, are you okay? And then they start kissing again, and he tries to, think, inappropriate. He tries to do inappropriate stuff, and she's like, no, stop it. And Jamie's like, okay. And then he walks away. And the next scene we have is the next morning, and Sophie wakes up on the deck. And I said, not they left her to wake up on the deck after their all-night bender. Because she woke up by herself on the deck, or the bridge. I don't know what it's called, but she woke up by herself. And then she gets up and she walks into the house trying to figure out what happened. And so the next scene we have is Abby running in the forest, and she gets shot. And I said, damn, Abby. Well, there was a flashback, but also the cops, this father and daughter were hunting the boars, and they saw that they were like eating something. So they walked up to them, scared them away, and tried to see what it was, and saw that it was a body. And the cops came and saw that it was Abby. And they were like, oh, the medical examiner isn't here yet, but it looks like a boar attack. But then the cop, who was supposed to be on leave because she was shot and is injured, she gets close to the body and she takes pictures and she sees that there's like a gunshot wound. And I was like, so the cops looked at the body and didn't see the gunshot wounds, but she did. This whole town is corrupt. And I bet you it's people failing up. Because how the fuck... Anyway. So, she is like, no, it wasn't a boar attack. Like, she was shot. And, so the next thing we have is Sophie, in the lake house. Like, everybody's gone. And she's trying to pack her stuff so she can go. And, again, for some reason, she brought her gun to Margot's house. I guess because she thought it would be safer there. And so she's packing up. She's looking for her gun. And she finds out that it's gone. And that's how the episode ends. I was like, yeah, that gun is gone, girl. And that's how the episode ends. Sophie is missing her gun. And then we see Sophie's missing her gun. Abby has been shot and has been killed, and we see that it's from a gunshot wound. So we got to see what's gonna happen. But yeah, that was the end of the episode. Again, I will never shut up about how uncomfortable it makes me that these people are hunching on literal teenagers. Like, it just grosses me out. And yeah, I'm really sad that Star's last interaction with her daughter was her trying to comfort her, and then, Abby being so rude, and then she was like, look, I bought the boot. She was so excited. And I feel really bad for Star. But yeah, that was the end of the episode. I don't have any ratings for these episodes. They're like there's stuff that I really like about the show, and then there's stuff that I really fucking hate about the show. And it sucks because I know that they're probably gonna have a huge place in season 2. So I'm just gonna have to be disgusted then as well. But I don't have ratings for these episodes. All these people are terrible people. I'm not really rooting for anybody, especially because, well, we'll find out. But there's nobody worth rooting for, and at this point I'm not sure who. I thought that for sure Jill killed Abby because she seems like the type of crazy bitch to do it. So I thought for the longest time that it was Jill. But yeah, that's the episode. Those are my thoughts. I'm sorry if this episode is all over the place. It's, my first recording back, and I'm still getting into the mix of things, still getting over this cold. So hopefully it was a enjoyable listening experience. But yeah, I will catch y'all next time. I hope that y'all, again, are having a good day and a good week, and I hope y'all are being safe, staying warm or cool, depending on where you are, and hugging on your family. I guess I can do a random question of the day. It's going to be music-based. What is your favorite album or song at the moment? I have been listening to some like COVID, the height of COVID era music, and just remembering how good it is. So I've been re-listening to Future Nostalgia. Future Nostalgia is my shit. Oh, I love that album so much. Dua Peep, she did her thing. She did her thing with that one. I've been re-listening to Ungodly Hour because that's phenomenal as well. By Chloe and Halle. So good. Like, again, just like with Pentatonics, Chloe and Halle's music it scratches an itch in my brain. It's so good and soothing, and I love it. I've also been re-listening to Prism by Katy Perry. Yes, Teenage Dream is a great album. One of my faves. I think Prism is my favorite Katy album. Yes, I liked Witness and Smile as well. And One of the Boys, of course. But Prism is my favorite Katy album. There's some really good music. For my favorite songs are Double Rainbow and It Takes Two. It's a really good album. I don't think that it got as much looking as I wish it did. And I did go to the Prismatic World Tour. My parents got me and my sister tickets to the Prismatic World Tour, and we had a great time. Because again, I love that album. So that was fun. But yeah, that's what I've been listening to. Oh, and Cardi's album, Bodega Baddie and Hello, my favorite songs on the album. I listen to those songs every day. But yeah, that's the music that I've been listening to so far, other than like my 90s, hip hop and R&B and alternative music. Those are the albums that I've been listening to of note. But yeah, let me know what y'all been listening to, what your favorite song or album is, and yeah, let me know your thoughts on the episode as well. And I hope y'all have a good day. And yeah, catch you next time. Bye.